Welcome third grade. We have been learning about value and how to add value to our artwork. So what I want you to do today is make a pear composition, and you can decide if you want to make one big pear or a grouping of pears, two or more, on your paper. And we're going to do it kind of in the style of Cezanne, which you have all seen in your lesson. So the first thing I'm going to do is create my composition using a pencil, okay? So pears are pretty easy to draw. I'm going to be drawing them sideways so you can see it at your angle, your perspective. But if you start off with a circle, it's much easier to draw your pears. And I'm going to draw them in three different angles, three different perspectives. So when I go to draw a circle, I want to pretend I'm drawing it before my pencil touches my paper and draw very lightly. And then as I touch down, I might make several circles before I stop. So this is the bottom of my pear. To make the top, I just join it with a hill. And there's my pear shape. Now I can make it look more realistic by adding some bumps, some little waves, maybe flatten out the top a little bit, not quite like that, but flatten out my top. And then I can add a little smiley face where my stem would come out. So that could be one pear. Maybe this pear is laying down, so I still start with a circle. And then I'm going to curve, there's that hill again, but it's going to be behind this one. So I don't go through this one, I stop, pick it up here. I'm going to make a little flat bottom again. And here's the little divot, and my stem is coming out this way. So this one may be laying sideways. And then this one I'm going to do as if it was pointing over in this direction. So again, another circle, a hill. This time I'm going to make my hill really slow because this one's going to be pointing away from me a little bit. So I'm just going to add a tiny stem coming out, and you're actually going to see the bottom of the pear on this one a little bit more. Now, after I'm done with that, it's good to mark off. I'm going to pretend that my light is coming this way, and I want to add a highlight to my pear, and I'm just going to kind of draw that in. This is the round belly of the pear, the biggest part of the pear, so light would reflect off that belly part of the pear. Same thing over here, it's going to hit this round part, and it's always going to be on the same side of the pear. And it's going to hit up here on this part of my pear. You can also sketch in some shadows with your pencil, just where you think some shadows would fit, because the shadows are going to be on the opposite side of the light, okay? And you don't have to do a lot of shading with that, just so your brain can remember where those shadows go. Now, you can paint these with either watercolors or acrylics, or if you have oil pastels, you can use those too. So I'm going to just dig into my oil pastels that I have here. I have some really old ones from when I was a little girl. Believe it or not, I still have these. This box, this is probably from, 1984. Okay, I won't tell you how old I was in 1984, but I was not yet in high school, but getting close. So now I have my light green, and I'm going to just go around my pear just to start laying in a color just along the edges, being careful not to touch that highlighted area because I want to leave that as light as possible, so I don't want to color that in. And you don't want to press super hard right away with oil pastels because they will get too waxy and then color won't stick to your paper. So I'm just going to color in really lightly to start. And I'm going to go all around my pear and leave some areas white, okay? Now, because as I add color, it will continue to fill in. I'm going to go to some yellow now. Pears are typically, in those compositions that we looked at, you saw some that were greens, sometimes they had browns, and yellows. Now I'm going to take my yellow and I'm going to go right over top of my green in some areas and I'm going to add some highlights over on the side where my light is. So the lighter colors of my pear would show up over here. And I'm just making little circles, coloring it in like that. Gonna put some more up top. Now, I can go into a darker green if you have a darker green. And now I'm going to pull up the darker greens on this side because this side would be darker with the shadows cast on it. Now, if you have a white, it's a really good time to pull that out. A white will act like a blender with your oil pastels and blend all these colors really well together. Notice I'm not worried about so much the direction of my coloring right now. I'm doing little circles because I'm just trying to fill in the space. Okay. Now, I don't want to leave that just not color. So I am going to put a little white in there, maybe mix that with a little bit of yellow just for my highlight there. Okay. And I can take some brown and go in and add some shadows up here where the stem would be. I can add some more shadows down here. Now, another way without brown is also, I know it's going to seem weird, but to use the complementary color to green, which is red, and that will also, I'm using my finger, I'm going to smudge, that will also create a shadow. Opposite colors kind of make a brown, and I'm creating a shadow over here with just using my red, real thin, not doing a real thick line. And then that is one pear painted. You would keep going with all of your pears, get them all painted. When you're done, if you want it to look like a Cezanne, you would take your black and you would go around your pear and you would outline it in a really thin black line. He did this real graphic black outlining. Okay? And you can also add some colors to your background if you want to add those, or you could do this on top of a colored piece of paper. If you have some construction paper, that works really nicely with oil pastels. So I'm just going to kind of come around my pastel. Now, remember I talked to you about the shadow at the bottom. You would fill this all in really nicely with paint or oil pastels. At the bottom, you want to create that shadow. So I could do that since I'm using blue. I could go in with a purple and create a shadow that way with my purple. Okay. And then I'm going to go back over top of it with some more blue just to create a shadow around the base where my pear would be reflecting onto my table. Okay. So I hope this is enough instruction for you to get started, and I hope you enjoy doing a value project. Remember, circle to start, add a little hill for the top of the pear, a little smiley face and a stem coming out. That's the divot of the pear where the stem grows out. Add a highlight on the round belly part of the pear, wherever your light is hitting on every side, same side of every pear, sorry. Add a shadow under your pear or wherever it would hit the table. Create a background color, and just, if you want to, outline it in black like Cezanne. I hope you have fun creating value. Remember, value is like light to dark. It could be from white to black, or from light blue to dark blue, light green to dark green. So those are just values, anything that goes from light to dark, and that creates three-dimensional form. So I hope you enjoy this project. I look forward to seeing them when you're finished, and I hope you guys have a great week. If you are able to join us, I'll be posting a Zoom meeting that will be a standing Zoom meeting for us to meet and get together and say hi to one another and share our artwork and whatever we're doing at home. So I hope you guys have a great week, and I look forward to seeing you. Take care.